Hello, spiritual seekers. It's Sid here, your spiritual muse, Crystals of Quartz on Instagram, and I'm here today to talk to you about a full moon in Aries, which is taking place on October 1st, 2020 at 5:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here where we're at in New York. So it's a full moon in Aries. So full moons are always times of letting go of what doesn't serve us. And then Aries is the warrior sign, the first sign of the zodiac, right? It is the initiator. It is the one who's always at battle, at war, ready to fight for what they value. That is Aries in a nutshell. So that's the energy that we're going to be dealing with this moon in a nutshell. The overall energy is that Aries driving force, fiery energy. And what else is going on, right? Because I'm always going to talk to you about the other aspects and how they relate. So keeping in mind that it's Aries, we're thinking about battling, we're thinking about initiating action, right? The Mars warrior energy of action. But, right, remember Mars is in retrograde for a little bit longer. So it's a time when we're going to want to think about what we want to act on. We want to think about the things that we value, but maybe we want to step back for a little bit and focus on why we value what we value and what is worth fighting for and what isn't. So ask yourself, what is worth fighting for? Sit and meditate on that. What's worth fighting for and what isn't? Let that go. Let it all go. Just release this full moon. Anything that is not worth fighting for to you. So ask yourself the serious question of what is worth fighting for and what isn't worth fighting for. And then our other aspects. So we have Mars squared Jupiter. So we have stuff going on with Mars during this Mars retrograde. So Mars square Jupiter is going to be adding more tension, right? Because square is always a tense force. Tension and fighting for what we value, which can lead to growth and expansion. So fighting for what we value, thinking about what we value is going to allow us to grow and expand. Now, there's quite a lot of squares going on in this particular full moon, but I want to explain something because squares kind of get a bad rap for being negative. And it is a very tense time, but through tension comes growth, right? So when we have a square, we have these harsh corners, right? But a corner is an opportunity to turn a corner, right? So remember that it's a time for change when we have those squares, right? Think about it that way. And then we have the moon and the sun square Jupiter. So the moon and the sun, right? Yeah, the moon and the sun are square Jupiter, which is going to be about actions taken based on emotions. So if there's a lot of fighting energy going on around this full moon, it's going to be because people have emotions attached to that, right? It is something personal. Then we have Mercury square Saturn, which is going to be about learning about society and communicating our issues. So how we can communicate our issues in society in order to turn that corner and grow. Yay! Right? We can spin it in a positive way. Then we have Mars square Saturn, which is going to be about battle and restriction once again, right? But again, that can lead to growth. It can be a good thing in the long run. Might not feel great while it's happening, but in the long run, it's going to be for a good thing. Then we have Mars trine Venus, which is very lucky and positive. Trines are lucky and positive. And it's going to be about appreciating what we value. So taking time to think of what we're grateful for, right? And so all the things we want to fight for and all the things we're grateful for in our lives, think about that and think about the positivity of it. So we can really use that square to change our mindset into a positive one. So even though there may be a lot of heavy things happening in the world or in our lives, we can use the positivity that we have within us to kind of spin it in a more helpful way, right? We don't need that toxic positivity, but if we can at least use it to help us get through the day, that's great. We don't want to ignore the fact that we have tension and the fact that there are issues. We don't want to coat it with love and light, but we can say, this is hard and we're going to be able to grow through it, right? This is hard, this is difficult, this sucks, but it's going to get better, right? It's going to get easier. And then we have Mars trine Uranus, which is about growth and reform once again. And then we have Chiron next to the moon, which is when we call it opposite. So it's next to the moon. Conjunct the moon, which is not opposite. That's different. We're going to have pain, emotional pain, making us act, and working on healing what hurts us in order to grow. Because we have Chiron, which is the wounded healer, the healer who takes its own problems and then uses that knowledge in order to heal others. So taking what hurts us or what has hurt us in the past, maybe using it to grow, maybe using it to help others, maybe taking our generational trauma, using it to help our children be better, something like that, helping the youth be better. That's just an example of one way that it could play out. Then we have Mercury opposite Neptune, which is about communicating or thinking about differences and imagining a better future. So these are themes that have been going on for a long time, right? It seems like some of these videos, it's just the same thing happening and happening. Well, you can see that the same thing has been happening in society for quite a while. The same things have been echoing in our own lives, right? Because these charts deal with society as a whole. It can deal with nations, it can deal with cultures, and it can deal with our interpersonal relationships as well, our own lives. So this is a lot of stuff coming to the forefront. We can really use this Mercury opposite Neptune to communicate our hopes for the future, right? There's a lot of things changing right now, a lot of things coming up. We have the presidential election coming up in November, and we're going to be using this time to kind of imagine a better future, right? So use this time to let go of what's not serving you so that by the new moon, which is in Libra on the 16th, which I'll make another video for soon, by then we want to be able to think about creating things, right? By midway through October, we're going to think about creation. Then at the end of the month, we have another full moon, which is in Taurus. So that is a blue moon. That only happens every 2 or 3 years. So that's going to be very special. And it's on Halloween. So get ready for those 2 videos coming soon. I hope you have a beautiful month of October, and I will be chatting with you soon. Mwah!